You know, if that walking pad, I actually lost 7 pounds since that video. But speaking of all the other dudes, as the song says, what if you tried an open relationship with a guy and it didn't work out? Would you ever try it again? I want to share why I tried being open for the first time with a little bit of tea and what I'd do differently if I were to do it again. And maybe you're not interested in being open at all, but someone you love or are really into suddenly asks for it. What are some things you should consider before saying yes or no? You might also enjoy some of the stories I'll share. It's a little hard for me to talk about my prior open relationship because of how it all ended, but I want to share reasons why it was exciting to me after having lots of time to process everything. Scared to lose him because we're open. Scared to lose him by not opening up. Scared to be exclusive with someone with so many red flags. Scared to lose myself in a situation with so many ambiguities and gray areas. But I ultimately found this is camp where gay, queer, and men's issues become music anthems. I'm working on a stage crossover rap musical inspired by my experience, and later I'll share a revamp of the song where the two men decide to be open together.
Where you wanna do what to me? You wanna do what to where? Yeah, I can open up. I can open.
Which will exemplify some of the points in our chat and show how you could have this conversation with your partner. The name's Trey. Let's get to it. Of course, there are standard questions like, does he only want to be open because he's not interested in me long term? Should I expect this relationship to last a year tops? Is this just an excuse to remain emotionally unavailable? And how will we sexually protect ourselves? But I want to discuss some non-obvious but equally important things today. By the way, I'm not here to convince you into an open relationship or not to enter one. And really, they're not all the same. Certain types of open relationships are riskier than others. But if it's on your mind, here are 3 considerations and stories based on my experiences. We'll save the best tip for last, which is about those mind-numbing gray zones. There was one night with my ex when all the compounding little conflicts exploded. I have class and work the next day, but I stayed at his place till 3 in the morning trying to resolve the issues, nitpicking through all the details. I take a car home without him because my work stuff is there, and as soon as I get back, he calls me, and I realize we had opened a Pandora's box that couldn't be shut. It feels like an ultimatum to prioritize the relationship because cutting off the conversation would add more gas to the fire. It's either him or my well-being. It's endless, and we don't pause the conversation until the sun comes up, and I'm just like, what am I doing with my life? Freedom is why I was interested in an open relationship, being free to act on any urge. Do it right, it's actually liberating, and we had moments of success. But do it wrong, it's a prison of endless conversations about trust and ways to prove your love. How you spend your time together might eventually feel like an ultimatum. True as well in monogamous relationships, but even more so in open ones with more variables at play. And to be abundantly clear, when I say open relationship, I mean having consensual sex outside your relationship and not polyamory or falling in love with others. But there will come a point when one of you is planning to hook up, but the other wants alone time together, and it might feel like an ultimatum, like a high stake deal breaking choice. Some questions to ask yourself: how good are you both at being alone? How willing are you to make sacrifices? There will be conflict as you figure this out. How do you each process and resolve conflict? Generally I'm down for a worthwhile challenge, but I underestimated how many little bites of conflict there'd be during a critical part of my life. I was in grad school, but say you're going for a big promotion and working harder. It would be easy to say, I'm so busy right now, let's open our relationship so you'll be satisfied. But tread carefully. It'll feel like you've got one less thing to worry about with less concern over your partner's sexual well being, but it can also be one more thing on your plate to manage or mismanage. Sure, it's great to know your partner chooses you daily rather than out of obligation or complacency. But for me, it started to feel like daily choices, compounding choices. When I needed a break, I instead had to make choices about whether we'd see each other or he'd go hook up. Misaligned choices create conflict. To get nerdy for a moment, it starts to feel like a game theory matrix. Do I want us to be sexual together? either just us or with others? Do I want to spend quality time together without sex on the table? Do I want to have sex with someone else without him? Maybe my partner is available, but I already made a plan with someone hot. Do I simply want time apart to be by myself or with friends without sex on the table? And then there's what he wants. Only on the middle diagonal line are we both perfectly aligned and happy. There are more opportunities to feel uneasy than if the sexually separate category were removed. Like if we both want some time apart, which everyone needs in a relationship, if I want sex and he doesn't or can't, it might be a persistent thought on his mind what I'm doing with another man while he's not engaging in sex. I remember getting texts to call him as soon as I'm done, which reflects this. Plus, if I said I want to hang out together, then changed my mind because I got behind in work and he had no hookup plans for the night, it created conflict. Or vice versa, when he had plans with a guy and had to cancel them because I decided I wanted to see each other, it created conflict. Or vice versa, when he was in control of those decisions and I had to change up for him. I think the couples who handle open relationships and the conflict they produce the best have lots of openness, emotional intelligence, vulnerability, patience. Truly, it can't be a rushed decision. I feel like you need, at the very minimum, half an hour to an hour a day at the start of an open relationship to talk about your feelings to make sure you don't hurt each other. Hey, if you like the Myers Briggs personality framework, if you're both J's, both the type who like to stick to schedules and make plans early, you might not have a problem. But if one of you is less like this, kind of like me, then simply how you schedule your time together might increasingly become a headache. It changes how well loved you feel. I might recommend only playing together or having out of town arrangements in this scenario. Note to myself, Trey, you change plans frequently and go with the flow. You're an introvert and you don't want to sound like a liar when you say you want some alone time, then decide at 11 p.m. you want to hook up with a stranger. You should talk through how your partner would handle these things and decide what's the right type of open relationship for you. What I admired about my ex was that from the second or third date, he was forthcoming about his sexual appetite. The dude loved it. He was convincing that he could separate emotional feelings from sex and that he only wanted to be romantic with a single person. He was also clear about his mental health and depression. A man who knows who he is and knows what he wants is very charming. It made me feel like I was in good hands. I know it can be scary to ask someone vulnerable questions when they don't initiate it. Maybe you'll push them away or it opens the door for them to ask you delicate things. But I wish I had dived deeper before committing to the open relationship with him. I was too eager to try this exciting new experience, which somehow validated me as a queer man in New York City. The main thing I'd interrogate a bit further in the future: how do both of us cope with and handle stress? Is sex his main vice or tertiary? An analogy is that for me, when I get stressed, I want to devour cookies, which could be every day of the week. But once in a blue moon, I'll treat my stress by going for a run. For you or for your partner, is sex the daily sugar or the occasional runner's high? Knowing this makes a world of difference in how the open relationship actually impacts everything. In other words, if your person approaches you about being open, does he see it as a 5% thing or a 95% thing? One adds spice to life, the other could be an addiction. And of course, men generally want multiple sex partners because they find other people hot. And it doesn't go much deeper than that. I'm not saying people only utilize their open relationships when they're stressed, but stress can make you want to let loose and find pleasure or a distraction. Or other mental things like jealousy or envy of another man can make you want to act out. Sex with someone else can be both the way to relieve yourself and hurt your partner. I'd ask my partner about his vices, ask him if he has an addictive personality, ask about his mental health and support systems. Does he lean on family for support or does he lean on strangers? Like a guy who's not at his best with tons of friends he can call up who instantly feels better after a taco and a beer or an edible might not use sex as a crutch. He might not find sex addicting. But the guy who's pretty lonely and tracks his diet so he'll have perfect abs might think that sex is the only healthy outlet for stress. Again, I'm not saying that frequent sex is bad, but you just want to know what you're getting yourself into. You both have a crappy day, but he wants a threesome when you want to cuddle to a movie. It's not going to work if you're frequently misaligned. But even when you ask upfront questions, tides can shift as you get into the thick of it. At first, he's vulnerable about loving anonymous sex after a stressful day of work, and I'm okay with that. But then, when he wants anonymous sex after I stress him out, that's a different story. The words we agreed to at first can bite us in the ass when we rush into an open relationship. Hindsight is 2020, and I might say in a future open situation, when you feel low or anxious, you come to me. When I stress you out, you come to me. You don't look outside our home for that kind of relief. That's what I'm here for. I'm your boyfriend. Sex with others is the cherry on top, but I am the whole dang meal. Essentially, being very clear about what role outside sex plays in our lives. Let me know what you think. Should extramarital sex be more celebratory, like a birthday cake, or an excursion on a vacation, or excitement when you're bored? Or are any and all reasons for sex valid and healthy? For me to feel secure, I would just need to know that he wants to be open for the right reasons. Is it just about sex and attraction, or something more? Is he just a mega extrovert? Or he doesn't know other ways to make friends, like he doesn't know how to talk to men without flirting? Does he positively feel that he has lots of love and energy to give more than one person can handle? Or is it out of loneliness and a fear of relying on one person? But if it is about something deeper than sex and attraction, I'd want to know, is the open relationship a temporary solution until we figure out the other things? Like, I want to know what I might get from you in the long term if I'm going to keep committing to you. Hey Trey, you gotta trust your gut. He says it's only about sex, but it doesn't really seem that way. He doesn't seem to know himself as well as he thinks he does, but he's so hot. Love can conquer anything, right? But disrespect is a stain that never goes away. You can get through any problem with love and respect. Check how he treats the people he's closest to. Is he loyal? Do they argue a lot? Does he push them away? That's how he's going to treat you eventually. I'll never forget this look on my friend's face. I was with him and my ex at an overpacked club in Harlem, and my friend comes up to me perplexed. Your boyfriend is kissing someone right now. I was like, "Oh, yeah, by the way, I forgot to tell you." Actually, I remember feeling slightly embarrassed that this pure friend of mine found out this way, but also confident in my relationship. I don't remember whether me and my ex discussed discretion or not as a rule, but sometimes it's confusing. We can flirt with a guy together in a club, but if I step away for a minute to the bathroom, he should suddenly have a chastity belt on. I think it's a gray area. There are so many rules you can come up with in your open relationship. No repeats, weekday hookups only, only when traveling, only together. Always tell each other about the hookup, absolutely don't tell. Be as discreet as possible, many more. Some people will call it cheating to break a rule in a consensual, non monogamous relationship. How do you both feel about rules in gray zones? And how could you possibly learn how he really feels about these things when actions speak louder than words? When some people in gray areas, they always make the selfish choice, while others err on the side of caution. Would both of you react in the same way? Maybe you ask him whether he believes that rules are meant to be broken or whether accidents happen. But this can be tricky to learn about because maybe he just doesn't like rules in a fight the system type of way. But he might completely honor them with someone he cares about. But then again, he might slip up when he's drinking and blame it on the alcohol. What I'd actually say to myself instead: Dear Trey, you tend to make decisions from a rational place, and you're unlikely to slip up on an agreed upon rule that is rational to you. However, you're typically attracted to men who make decisions from an emotional place or from their gut. They might be more likely to break a reasonable rule if it feels right in the moment. In fact, after your ex kissed that guy in front of your ex claimed someone had insulted him in the club and he was feeling down, so he had to make out with someone to feel better. Logic can go out the window when emotions get involved. So know who you're dealing with. What kind of backbone does the man you're interested in have? I want to give an example of some of these conversations through music. Kind of like in the musical Hamilton, I love how rap can be a vessel for spitting out talking points in debate, simply because it has more syllables and words than an average sung lyric. I recently got a playwriting master's from Columbia University, plus I'm a musician, and I wanted to experiment with telling my story in a musical inspired by the roller coaster that was this relationship. With that open relationship, I was scared to try it, scared to lose him because we're open, scared to lose him by not opening up, scared to be exclusive with someone with so many red flags, scared to lose myself in a situation with so many ambiguities and gray areas. But I ultimately found a redemption. I figured others might have the same feelings, and sometimes as men, it's difficult to have discourse about these vulnerable things without an entryway, like a fun musical. I challenged myself to spend the past couple of weeks reimagining a song from this rap musical that I'd already written. It's about the moment when these two guys decide to enter an open relationship and be boyfriends. It's currently imagined as a solo show by one lead vocalist. Let's check it out with this lyric video. It's called Open Up.
He says, I know I'm going through shit, that's the way it is. If it was easy to fix a mess I'm in, I'd be doing it. My mama calls me Wednesday asking how I'm surviving this. I hate that out, but what can I do? I can't give it, cause I'm living on my own, self-medicated. Aiming high, not an easy road. Forgive me for how I'm getting by. Every time I'm making these days ain't going far enough. Trying to keep my hope up so I can make it through the rough. Rely on people to get me through every single day. I love my friends and my neighbors, really the only way I keep my head up. We sharing the pace. When I can't get out of bed, to them I pray. I love my people, it's beyond community. I love my people, got sexual needs. I might use sex as an escape, but I'm so into you. I'm not about to change, but this might benefit you too. Every day I think of how I never quit, and that's it. Baby, my love is infinite. So all y'all stuck in your ways, stuck in your shit, I'm gon' be open and open and open. For all y'all haters who wanna tell us we're wrong, gotta stay open and open and open and y'all ain't stuck in your ways, stuck in your shit, I'm gon' be open and open and open. For all y'all haters who wanna tell us we're wrong, gotta stay open and open and open and I stay up all night, but you let me in. You up all night, now pushing through. I stay up all night, open for you. Up all night, feeling I want you. Up all night, but you let me in. Up all night, now pushing through. I stay up all night, open for you. And I tell 'em, never done this, it's been monogamous. Everything I've been in before, well, when I miss, they don't love me no more. They don't love me no more, oh no. My ex knew it, but he was afraid to explore. Don't know if he's right for me or I'm settling and bored. He don't love me no more, cause I couldn't love him no more. Fuck me. If I ever tell my family, mom and dad is still together, living happily. Seeing the perfect boy living so gay and lavishly. Baby, as long as you ain't no emotional cheater. Boy, something about this feeling that I'm getting when I'm sitting here and feeling you and it's kicking in. That you will love me so more. You could please me with all of them boys. Living a life that never quits, praying for time to live the limits. So y'all stuck in shit, I'm gon' be open and open and open for all y'all. So it's a lesson wrong, I stay open and open and open and y'all. Stuck in the way, stuck in shit, I'm gon' be open and open and open for all y'all. So it's a lesson wrong, I stay open and open and open and I stay up all night, picturing me and you. Up all night, now I'm pushing through. I stay up all night, open for you. Up all night, feeling I stay open-minded to you, gonna have some fun. Open to your mind and everything you want. Open-minded to you and every bit of you. Open to your mind, forget about through. Open-minded to you, having specific needs. Open to you, now fitting it all with me. Open-minded to being your boyfriend, yeah, whatever it may be. Stuck in shit, I'm gon' be with you, I'm gon' be with you. All y'all haters who wanna tell us we're wrong, I stay with you, I stay with you. Y'all who stuck in your ways, stuck in your shit, I'm gon' be with you, I'm gon' be with you. All y'all haters who wanna tell us we're wrong, I stay with you, I stay with you, I stay with you. Well, you wanna do what to me? You wanna do what to where? Yeah, I can open up. I can open, 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 and open, 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 and open, open, open. For you.
Thanks for listening to this music demo. I'm very curious about the intersection of our social and sexual behavior with our mental health, and this I Want song expresses how a couple might explain their past and current state of mind while still being sexy and actively choosing each other. Accordingly, I added the post chorus sections about I stay up all night picturing me and you to underline that this is a love song that, regardless of the open circumstances and potential conflict, they truly want each other. Sometimes that's enough. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'd appreciate it so much. Let me know if you'd like me to comment on other relationship dynamics, or if you'd like more YouTube videos on this rap musical. Check out this video for more, where I first talked about open relationships. Guys, you don't have to be anxious, scared, or closed-minded about open relationships. Just think it through carefully before entering. Best of luck. This is Camp. Peace.